gentlemen, sinners, saints, put your drinks down for half a second. Light whatever you brought with you. Cigars, smokes, joints, coffee, whiskey. I don't judge. You didn't come here for fairy tales. You came for truth, steel, and motor oil. This ain't clickbait. This ain't influencer nonsense. This is real biker news told by a man who's lived it, seen it, and survived it. From the streets to the clubhouse, from the old guard to the new blood. Welcome to Biker News Canada. And the man behind the curtain, the voice they don't want quiet, the pen that wrote Playpen, the mind that never shut off, Bob Jarvie. So sit back, let the truth hit harder than a straight pipe at midnight. And remember, once you hear it here, you can't unhear it. Now here is Bob.
Hey, how's everyone out there today? Bob's back, Biker News Canada, on a Thursday night, coming at you live nightly, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. And then we jump back in Sunday, and we do a political show on Sundays at 8 p.m. So if you don't want to know about politics, or you don't want to, that stuff makes you angry or pisses you off or whatever the case is, don't tune in Sunday. And I don't put it on Facebook on the Sunday show either, but I still do one because I'm interested in politics. I try to stick to Canadian politics since I'm from Canada, but you know how it goes. Sometimes the conversation goes where it goes, because that's the other thing I like to do a lot on this show is talk to the chat and make the chat basically part of the show. I enjoy it. I like you guys, and it makes it more interesting to me. So that's why I do it that way. And I got a good crew coming in here tonight already. I love you guys. Quick thing before we get started, let's keep in mind the book. I wrote so this is the first book. I got another one in the can. And one day when I find a minute, I know I got to get moving here at the end of the month and get settled in the new place, and then I'll get that other one polished up and edit and publish it, self-publish it, and try to make this into an audio book sometime too. So lots of things I gotta do. Get my ass a little bit more busy. Contact me on any social media, or put One Night at the Playpen right in the Amazon search bar, and it'll pop up, and you can get the book and an embroidered patch from me as a package deal. And when the merch website comes out, everything will be available on the merch website. All right, let's say hello to everybody this evening. We got JR Dodd. How are you, brother? Good to see you. We got Kurt's in the house. How are you, bro? Hope you're doing good tonight. Hardwire, my friend. How are you, bro? Good to see you. Gary, it's nice to see you every night, Gary. That's awesome, man. All you guys are pretty much nightly, and I love you for it. I couldn't appreciate you guys anymore. We got 905 Jared. Good to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. And K Wayne, you working tonight, K Wayne? The old night shift. I always thought the night shift, there was a band here in Canada, so this is more of a Canadian story, called, we got the Edge in the house too. I almost missed you, Edge. How are you, brother? A band called Helix. They were based there. The singer was based in my city, London, and they got manipulated by their band manager, as happens a lot in the music industry, unfortunately, or it did back then. And in between albums, the dude worked the night shift at a 24-hour convenience store, similar to a 7-Eleven, you know what I mean? And that he did that for years. You still got to pay the mortgage and pay your bills, right? But good group, Helix. You ever get a chance, go see them. They're loud, they're proud, they're ultimately Canadian, and they're still out there and they still tour. I think The members are in their 60s or so now, so you know what I mean. We got True Man Hunter. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Till 10. Oh, you're almost done, bro. Not bad, not bad. Good for you. Snake. I don't know Snake that much. All I know is I know when I was in the club, I was told he was no good. None of us from the club ever associated with Snake. So really, I don't really know much about him, aside from the fact that he was tattooed all head to toe and all that, right? He looked kind of like, because back then it was before everyone got tattoos everywhere, and he had them on his head and his face and his neck, and I think he covered himself in them actually. Yeah, Helix was fun. Weren't they shoveling? They were fun. Hey, I went to see the guy about the you wanted the shovel pan motor, didn't you not? But he wasn't home this afternoon, so I'm gonna go pop by there tomorrow and check him out. And somebody else wanted an older motorcycle part, or maybe a bike altogether, and I can't remember. So if it was anyone in the chat, remind me, because like I said, I'm gonna go see the guy tomorrow afternoon and see what he's saying. So yeah, Helix. I'll tell you a cool story about Helix. But you kind of, hey, my woman, how are you? Thanks for popping in tonight. So there was a bar in London, and it was at the end. It was a restaurant that they turned into a nightclub at night. It was called the Bavarian. It was at the end of a little, a small shopping mall or a big plaza. You know what I mean? So this restaurant, like I say, turned into a nightclub at night. And then they weren't doing that well, so they tried running live bands. So they booked April Wine, which is a theater band from Canada, right? You guys probably heard them down there, Who, What a Night and all that shit. They were big, right? They're big enough. So Helix opened for April Wine, and I disc jockeyed that night in between sets, right? So when they were breaking down the one band and getting the other band up, I did the break. So anyways, this bar restaurant place was in the middle of high-rise buildings that were pretty much all senior citizens and the odd Western student. And April Wine brought their stadium PA. Holy fuck, was it ever loud? And that was the last gig that restaurant ever did, and that restaurant closed shortly after. So the old folks made that much fuss and shit at City Hall that they pulled a liquor license or did some bullshit or whatever, right? So that was it. That was the final blowout. April Wine and Helix. Yeah. I actually, in the house that Brian Vollmer just sold, I don't know, the one he moved into. No, the one he sold. I installed a new furnace in there for him. Yeah, everyone's seen April Wine. They were a good band to see, man. There's nothing wrong with April Wine, man. They're always a good song. And you could always sing along to their tunes because you knew them, right? Yeah, great people in this chat. Is there Mountain Woman? I love the people in our chat. It's really turning into a cool community, and new people that come along are welcomed, and everyone's pretty cool. I like that, and I thank you guys for that. So we got a little other biker news. I think this one's out of the States. Maybe we'll hit this one first. It's from yesterday, and it was, anyways, let's put up on the screen here. So a Cleveland man among two arrested after biker G-word stabbing in Tazewell. So a Cleveland man and a Johnson City man associated with a bike club are now facing charges after a stabbing incident in Tazewell, Tennessee in December. And I believe that was that thing when the pagans were cutting a patch off of another club. Allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I think that's all coming down to that. So they're arresting people in other states. And again, it's just a bunch more fucking lawyer fees and shit, man. I can't believe this hasn't become a pain in the ass to this club yet. But hey, they're going to run their club their way, and hats off to them. That's the way you run a club, right? So, anyways, they allegedly they arrested 2 suspects. So no one is guilty until the gavel comes down, and even then, half the time, right? It's questionable. Hey, Grant, how are you tonight, brother? Thanks for popping in, man. I appreciate to see you. Your dad's old school, yeah. TRC's in the house from cold. It was 6 degrees out here in Ontario today, TRC, and it didn't even rain. It was fucking awesome. Nice drive down because I live like a halfway away from the college where I teach. And we got Tramp 5150. Hey, how are you? You're not even late. We just got through the first kind of little story that I didn't really care that much about. That's probably why I didn't talk about it yesterday. I was going to do a show today, and we'll see how long we talk about the choice story is. I was going to do a little bit in the history of a club down here that I like. I know a few of the members of the traditional MC, and they're called the Queensmen. I was going to look into a bit of their history of the Queensmen, and they're still around, and they're good people. I like them. But, as like every other bike club, they had a past, and people came and went. It's a bit of an interesting story. So this is the one that I put up on the title. So it's coming right off of Harley's page. And the Satan's Choice has opened a chapter in Finland. So that's actually a good start for motorcycle clubs is those countries up there. What are they called? The Nordic countries. I know that's which way the other big three came in. The Banditos came in those countries. The Angels and the Outlaws, they've all got chapters in cities in, Sweden, Scandinavia, Denmark, Finland, and it's a good starting point. So, and I also saw in a comment, I don't know if it was in somebody's chat or in one of my posts on the Facebook group. I don't know if you guys go back and forth, like the people that watch the channel look at the group, and I don't know if the people that look at the group watch the channel. I got no way to track that. But Satan's Choice has also opened a chapter in Daytona. Now that's not been certified or anything posted on the Satan's Choice website or on Harley's site, but it's just something that I saw in passing. So that one we won't put our feet in the fire and say it's 100%. But I have heard word of that, which would be interesting, right? They're doing their thing. He's growing. He stands on his word, Kurt. He's growing. I can't wait to get him in for the next interview because I was kind of figuring he was going to go to Europe. So I thought we'd get our next interview in at the end of where he is now in North America. But now we get to include Europe into the conversation. So that's pretty cool, man. And anyone who watches his posts on Facebook, he's seen that he was in Europe, and he was also in Amsterdam. Now, whether he said he had to meet somebody there. So anyways, the other person didn't make it. So who knows, right? Maybe he's trying to maybe he's going to pop open a few chapters in Europe, right? He's had a few months to talk to him over the phone and whatever. And maybe that's what he's there in person for. If he is, good for him, man. He works fast. And like you said, Kurt, he stands on his word so far. He said he was going to go worldwide. So that's it. And the next big biker market is Australia, right? Which I would assume, with the way their laws are and shit and all that stuff right now, is Australia would probably be the toughest market to open a whole new club in. You know what I mean? That's never existed there before. But it's not to say that there's some 1 or 2 chapter clubs that wouldn't mind. I'll get together under one banner, right? You never know. So I think, just because that's all I really had about the choice going in there. opening a chapter. So why don't we do the Queensman story anyway? Like I say, the good guys. I dig them. I don't know. I think they've only got a couple chapters um, these days in southwestern Ontario. Well, there's one of their members passed. Well, that's a shitty thing to start with, is it? But they got, you know, this is, I think they got their own Facebook presence. I thought they did. Yeah, there it is, right there. The Queensman. Is that them? Is that the same thing? That ain't the same thing. Get on out of here. That is not the Queensman I'm thinking of, dudes. Oh, it's because I did it in a search. Yeah, there's some more of the guys from the club, I guess. Yeah. So that was all good to see. So this club, it's kind of a strange story. This club has been had members picked out of it and stuff like that. They've been kind of a part of how the motorcycle scene shaped up in southwestern Ontario. Yeah, I did tramp. Yes. Yeah, and so they started. Here, I got it on my phone here. I always put shit on my phone now. I write me a little script and all that shit on the phone. May as well. Boom. Okay, where are we? There we are. There we are. There we are. I like the script writing thing. I give them the info and they write me a little script. I like it. And we can make a show out of it. Here we are. Here we are. Okay. And I had to tell it the proper info. The internet didn't even have the right info in it. So that was interesting. Okay, so the origin, southwestern Ontario. The Queensville Motorcycle Club traces its roots back to the 50s, a time when motorcycle clubs across North America were very different from what we see today. Post-World War II Canada saw a surge in motorcycle riding among veterans and working class men. These clubs were initially social, centered around riding, wrenching on bikes, and weekend parties. The Queensmen formed in Amherstburg, Ontario, which is down by Windsor, just south of Windsor. So it's basically a border town. And that location did matter, right? So Amherstburg sits directly across the Detroit River from the United States, close to Detroit, a city with deep biker roots and an established outlaw scene. Even in the early days, cross-border influence was unavoidable. The Queensmen were in a flashy club. They didn't wear oversized colors. What the hell does that mean? Or openly claim 1%er status. At first, they were a regional working class club made up of men from factories, docks, and trades. By the early 60s and late 60s and early 70s, the Queensmen had grown beyond Amherstburg, and they also had chapters in Windsor, or they probably moved Amherstburg to Windsor, right? Chatham and London. Southwestern Ontario had become their region, their spot. At a time when major outlaw clubs had not yet fully established themselves in the region, clubs like the Queensmen filled the vacuum. And that's all true. So they got all that correct so far. And like I say, they're good people. Then they do one big charity event every summer. Hey, Gyro Lamb, good to see you, bro. Because I announced it last year and put it in a video. So I'll be doing the same this year, right? Yeah, man. Do your thing, Kurt. Thanks for popping in, brother. And just check out Watch the Rest if you like. So to understand the Queensmen, you need to understand the biker world of Ontario before the biker wars. There was no biker wars in Ontario. I hate that word, kind of. I'm starting to get sick of that word. So in the 70s, there was no HA empire in Ontario yet. The outlaws were still expanding, and most clubs were local, independent, and territorial. The Queensmen were one of the several mid-level clubs operating in this space. And when you say mid-level, I don't mean that to mean and how the club is, or you know, like they're not on the top echelon. I just mean in numbers, right? They had how many guys they had, and that's what they had. And they weren't really big on openly recruiting, but like I say, I'm friends with guys who are in that club now, and they had to get recruited from somewhere and do the same steps as everyone else does. So they weren't at the top, but they weren't insignificant, is what I'm trying to say. They had clubhouses, they had regular runs and parties, and they had a reputation. And the cops knew who they were too. So, like many other clubs of that era, lines between social club and criminal activity were blurred, not clearly defined. Things began to change as larger American outlaw clubs started pushing in Ontario. So it's always London. It's funny, when there's shit going on with motorcycle stuff in Ontario, it's always London's in the middle of it. So by the late 70s, the London chapter of the Queensmen became the most visible, and they became big. It was like over 20 members. And they had a clubhouse on Wonderland Road on the outskirts. Back then, that would have been the outskirts of the city. Nowadays, it's kind of right in the middle of it. But anyways, so the residents and police, it quickly became a problem. The complaints included noise, heavy traffic, parties lasting all night, and suspected criminal activity. Whoa. They're being suspicious of being suspicious. Because they had long hair and patches, right? And they rode Harleys. Good evening, Alex. Good to see you tonight, bro. Oh, I saw him in Finland. I just started the show, or just finished that. That's what's on the screen. It's Finland. Oh no, sorry, it's not on the screen anymore. I got a picture of the Queensman on the screen now. Sorry, but yeah, I saw Harley announcing Finland this morning, Doug, and wouldn't surprise me if he announced England by this evening. You know what I mean? Yeah, Windsor did have a heavy motorcycle scene, Alex? It was always a good city to go down to. That's it, being a border city, right? Border cities are always interesting places. At least the border cities in Canada, because we had a chapter well, we didn't have a chapter right in Niagara Falls, but in St. Catharines and Windsor and Sault Ste. Marie. And Ottawa is basically on the border to Quebec, right? So we did have some. The club I was in took advantage of border towns and liked to be on borders. 100%. We got nomadic. Okay, so where was I on our story? Oh yeah, so that was back in the early 80s. It was 1980 that changed everything. In June of that year, several members of the London Queensman chapter were charged in a serious SA case. Isn't that a bummer? So that's the past, I guess, on bikers. Maybe back in the day, we hear about more and more older clubs, right? The case drew widespread media attention in London. The allegations shook the community and placed Queensman directly in the public spotlight. While not all charges resulted in prison sentences, the damage was done. Law enforcement scrutiny increased. Health inspectors came to inspect the clubhouse, and the clubhouse got declared unfit for human habitation. So they just found a way to basically try to run them out of London, right? Police pressure intensified, and just days before the condemned building was set to be demolished, it caught fire in the middle of the night. Huh, funny how that happens, eh? So that was the end of the Queensman being quiet in the region, right? So then in the early 80s, so this is a string of events that people usually don't know correctly, but not that it matters. I'll just clear it up when we tell the story. Yeah, the Queensmen are still in Windsor, I think, Alex, I believe, but I might, or like they were before, Amherstburg or somewhere just outside of. Because I think the event I advertised, or I didn't advertise, just put in one of my normal videos, was happening down there around that part of the province. Yeah, and I think he said it during the interview that he was headed overseas. So good for him. Hey, Mike, good to see you, brother. Thanks for popping in this evening, man. Yeah, I really enjoyed my brothers in the St. Kitts chapter. I enjoyed all of them, but I spent a lot of time at St. Catharines. If I wasn't in London, 100%, man. Yeah, man. Everyone's saying good evening. Right on. Good, good. Everyone's showing the love to each other. So, in the early 80s was a turning point for outlaw motorcycle clubs in Ontario. Larger clubs, especially the Outlaws MC, were actively recruiting, absorbing, or controlling smaller clubs. The last part's bullshit. The Queensmen were vulnerable. So they had legal problems, negative media attention, and a weakened structure because some of the guys were on charges, right? According to organized crime sources, the Outlaws began exerting influence over Queensmen members in southwestern Ontario. So I think some of the Queensmen from Amherst chapter left and became outlaws in Windsor. And also, the Satan's Choice chapter in Windsor flipped as a chapter to Outlaws. So the Outlaws had a pretty big chapter in Windsor all at once. It was a really cool chapter at one point. I really liked them. So that they were saying that they were using this feeder clubs, or like the smaller clubs, not just the Queensmen or support clubs, or else they absorbed them. Which, like you said, that's what they did. They patched them over. So they were the Queensman name looked like it was going to fade at that time. So what happened with the London guys, especially with the SA charges and shit? You know what I mean? A bunch of the guys from the London chapter stopped being that club and opened another club called the Holocaust. So the Holocaust got members from the Queensmen and some other bikers from around and stuff like that. And then that became the Outlaws chapter for London, Ontario. Hey, James, good to see you. Thanks for popping in this evening. Yeah, we called them the zoo. Fucking right. The zoo was a place, bro. It was a place. King and the Boys were the first outlaws in Canada. Yeah, because in 77, I think, what was it, 5 chapters? Sault Ste. Marie, Ottawa, Windsor, and Hamilton, left the choice and became outlaws. And that was all in 77, right? And they were from Windsor. Yeah, exactly, right? So yeah. The Windsor chapter, you're right, is the first outlaw chapter in Canada. You're 100% right, Alex. Yes, they are. So the Holocaust openly embraced the 1% thing, because I don't know if the Queensmen used to be, but at this time they don't do the 1% diamond. They're okay. So leadership figures connected to the Holocaust will later surface in large major biker investigations. And also, because somebody was talking to me about that Shed Massacre thing, Wiener came out of this London crew somewhere too. I think he did the Queensman Holocaust outlaw thing, and then he opened up the Annihilators from there. And like the wiki people and all that said that the Queensmen in London became the Annihilators, which 100% didn't go that way. But that's all, that's all stuff that you would only know if you're very close to the club. You know what I mean? So in effect, the Queensmen didn't simply disappear. They evolved. The transition marked a shift from a semi-social regional club to a more explicitly outlaw organization. So it's saying in the 80s that they were getting into criminal activity, allegedly, or according to the cops, I guess. Yeah, and then that chapter, they had it 100% wrong. So the Holocaust did not evolve into the Annihilators. What actually happened was far more significant. By the mid-80s, the Outlaws Motorcycle Club were actively consolidating power in Ontario. They weren't just expanding, they were absorbing. Clubs that proved useful, loyal, or strategically valuable were given a choice: stand alone and struggle, or patch over and survive. So the Holocaust, like you say, became outlaws. Rather than disappearing or fragmenting, the Holocaust patched over the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, becoming part of the Outlaws' expanding structure in southwestern Ontario, including London. That's same with the Toronto chapter. The Toronto chapter came from a different club too. It didn't come from the Choice either. So the Toronto Choice stayed Choice, and then another club became the Toronto Outlaws. So and then of course it gives them all the and the pet. Okay, so it gives them all the big benefits that come with being in a big transnational club or an international club, but also gives you the obligations, right? So you get the good, but you have to put in your work for it. At West, I believe Apollo MC were around the 60s. Okay, I'll look into that club. I like the old club history. Like, even though the Queensmen are still around, I like the history. Like, they come from the 50s. They've been around for a long, long time. Saskatchewan is okay. Thanks for that, Mountain Woman. I've never done a biker story out of Saskatchewan. The Iron Hogs, Alex. Fuck Alex. You know all this shit like I do. Yeah, it's exactly who they were, bro. And we got Rebecca in the house. Good to see you tonight, Rebecca. And that's why I find this stuff interesting, because the club's got a history, right? And we got Mr. Green Thumbs in the house too. How are you tonight, brother? You know what I mean? So, like, the patch over explains why the Queensman story is hard to trace, because they didn't collapse, they didn't go to war, and they didn't make a dramatic last stand. They just did what they did, kept surviving, and stayed being a club, and did, so if they had to, one chapter goes away and then you open another one somewhere else, that's what bikers do, right? Or one chapter goes away and you don't replace it. Sometimes that's what you got to do. The Queensman MC, they're from southwestern Ontario, Windsor, Chatham, London. And to this day, they still have a chapter just outside of London, because the fellas I know are from that chapter, and they're good guys. Very good people. Could be worse. Well, fucking mine could be better. Vinny's in the house. How are you tonight, brother? Good to see you this evening. Oh, so that's where you're from, eh, Doug? Awesome. So yeah, so that is why, if you're thinking about trying to get the history of some of these clubs, that they're hard to follow unless you're from the region or you're friendly with the club, right? So there's one misconception that needs to be corrected. A lot of people believe the Queensman Motorcycle Club simply vanished in the 80s, absorbed, patched over, erased. But that's not true. The Queensman Motorcycle Club still exists today, right now. Yeah, so I was just saying, oh, that's funny. Well, individual members and splinter groups from the original Queensman lineage moved on, some patching over the Outlaws, some walking away. The Queensman name itself survived. And it survived by something very few motorcycle clubs managed to do. It adapted without disappearing. That's what I just said. Cool. Modern Queensman presence. As of today, Queensman MC maintains an active presence in southwestern Ontario, including a chapter in Windsor, another chapter just outside of London. They're not a relic, they're not a revival, and they're not a nostalgia club. They're just an MC doing their thing, man. And that's basically what being a biker is about, right? What changed and what didn't? What changed over time was not the club's right to exist, but is placed in the biker ecosystem. The Queensmen today are not positioned the way they were in the 70s. They're not trying to compete with international 1%er clubs. They're not seeking territory wars. They're not chasing headlines. They occupy a space that many long-running clubs eventually find. Local, low-profile, selective, and focus on survival, not expansion. Should be happy with what you got and bring good friends and good people in if they want to come. That alone explains how the Queensmen avoided the fate of so many other clubs that burned bright and burned out. In outlaw and motorcycle club history, it's far more common to see clubs patch over, break apart, get erased by larger organizations, or disappear after police pressure. What's rare is continuity. The Queensman MC representing something unusual, a club that existed before the biker wars. Again, I don't know whether Wikipedia is getting biker wars, survived the biker wars, and still rides today quietly, locally, and on its own terms. That's why this matters for the story. In addition to three important things, it avoids being disrespectful. Yeah, so yeah. Okay. So that's it, man. That's a little history of a club, like I say, that I've always had respect for and still do. And they're full of good people. They still exist, and they didn't get absorbed, swallowed up, pushed out, or anything like that. And they've been around since the 50s. So that's a little hats off to the Queensman MC. And I hope to see you guys this weekend down there, actually, on the bike show. Yeah, and like I say, that's why when you get into smaller regional clubs, unless you're from the region, or unless they've done something that made headlines, huge headlines, you kind of got no reason to have heard of them, right? Same as one that Doug was talking about up further up the screen on the comments. Hey, Real Truth, how are you, man? Good to see you tonight. No, that's what I was just saying, Rebecca. They're one of the clubs that didn't get absorbed, didn't get pushed out, didn't get shut down. They just concentrated on the members that they had, and they're still just a 2 or 3 chapter club, minding their business and doing what bikers do, riding their motorcycles. Really good guys. No, my first wife was from there in Calgary. I met her, brought her home to Hamilton. Yeah, I thought you were from Hamilton. And had a kid, worked at Dofasco. Oh, okay. Holy moly. Dofasco, eh? That's like the Sioux Mill in the Sioux, is it? You did the oil field. Isn't that the name of the city, Kinnersley? Isn't that the Saskatchewan city that the Choice said they had a chapter into? I think they did. Hey, we got Chris in the house talking about the zoo. There's a man who lives it and breathes it. How are you, brother? Thank you, Grant. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, I respect that club. They're good. Like you say, I like digging into this shit because, there's no events to talk about yet. There will be. Tomorrow, I think we'll talk about the bike show in Toronto. And we'll just see how much information we can pull up on the bike show in Toronto. I went last year, and it was pretty cool. So the BDRs, they are still a thing, Alex. Yes. But when I see them advertised for things now, I think they're referring to themselves as a riding club. I think. I'm pretty sure the last thing I saw. Actually, we'll have a quick look. Why not? Black Diamond Riders. They did they do stuff like Valentine's dances and stuff like that at the Legion. They're still in the GTA. Oh no, it says up here MC. I guess I was wrong. Let me see. No, they are an MC. Yeah, we can do the Banditos Massacre one day. Absolutely. Like you say, that's a weird case because when it comes to that story, I knew guys on both sides of the guns, unfortunately, and a bunch of the guys that didn't go home that night were in the club I was in. They were in our clubhouse not long before that all happened, man. And it was a bummer to wake up in the morning and read all those names in the paper. It was a fucking drag. He's on Poop Poop. One of them Saskatchewan farmers with ZZ Top beer. Who's that? Oh, one of your in-laws, is it? More one odor gangs arrested them. Yeah, I know. I got that one the other day. And it wasn't more. It was the same guys from the last time they all got arrested, got more charges. Hey, thank you for that, Off-Roading. from Manitoba, another Manitoba person. Cool. I love that. I love it that our Canadian people are getting into it, man. I really appreciate that, you guys. Not that old, really. Maybe older clubs, honestly. Yeah. Well, like you say, Rebecca, like the Queensmen started way back in the 50s. So bless them. They've been around for a long time and they still exist today. But again, they exist in southwestern Ontario. So unless you're right into the biker scene, you wouldn't know of them, right? Because they're not from your area. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Apollos are a really good bunch. Sad to see them go, and anyone took the clubhouse over. Apollos, see, I don't even know. I have no idea about the Western clubs. Now I got to go look them all up because I don't want to only just talk about shit in Ontario. It's cool because at least like when I talked about tonight's group, I know them, right? And like I know a couple of them personally, and I can say, hey man, they're really cool guys and blah blah blah. So I feel a little more comfortable speaking about them because there's no way I'm ever going to talk about a motorcycle club unless maybe it's an LEMC. But I try not to talk about any club at all in a bad light or disrespectfully. You know what I mean? It's not what I'm here for. I met some guys up north here. They had a hunting camp beside my best friend's camp, and they were bikers from the Windsor area. They were great guys. Torch, Bebop, another guy called Old Man. Huh, I don't know. Bebop sounds familiar to me, Chris. But oh yeah, there's a few clubs in Windsor right now. I think the One Order's down there, 81's down there, and there's a riding club down there called Bad Examples. Be great, be nice when you're up and running this summer and video streaming your journeys. That's going to be fun, Doug. I'm really looking forward to that. No, like I said, the only one that sounded a little familiar is Bebop, and I don't know where. I have a buddy that has land in northern Saskatchewan, goes deer hunting, big deer, not like those little American deer. Don't they also, if you get far enough into the tundra, they got caribou up there, don't they? They're pretty crazy looking critters, caribous are. Hey, Vinny, thanks for popping in. And everybody, do like Vinny said, get that like button for me. It helps. And I think I'm so close to getting this monetization bullshit sorted. They sent me another thing and I sent it back again. They keep trying to set up my business and I've disabled it and took it all down. I keep telling them. So this time, I got to the place where it asked me because I got 2 YouTube channels. I forgot about. I was going to start the AI channel and call it Biker Secrets, the ones I put on Patreon. But then I was like, yeah, I don't know if I like them, so I'll come back on Patreon with a different angle. But I did. But this time it asked me which YouTube channel, so I told them Biker News Canada. So hopefully, this is it, right? You know what I mean? I hope this is it. Few solid small clubs in Vancouver. See, that's the stuff I want to do, Alex, is just check out their histories too, right? You know, a lot of these clubs, 1 and 2 chapter clubs, have just been chugging along for all these years and didn't get involved in the big stuff, didn't want to, didn't have any need to, and they still exist. And those are the ones, you know, again, hats off to them, you know. Discuss the band. Yeah, I'm going to do a whole show on the Bandito Massacre. I don't want to just start talking about it at the end. But yeah, I knew Wayne. Show's getting out there. I'm sharing you to everyone. Thank you, Doug. I fucking appreciate that, bro. Hey, James, good to see you tonight coming in from Sudbury. Up there in the rock. You know, all that nickel up there is going to make you guys fucking more important. It's funny, though, eh? They go on about our natural resources like everyone who lives there is going to get rich. The only ones that are going to get rich are the guys who own Valley Mines, right? But, you know, what are you going to do? Or unless you get a job there. I don't know if I could work underground like that. Not from your area. No, they're not. I wonder if there's any small clubs still existing around the Guelph area. I know there's a bunch of riding clubs up there that are good people. My OPD. The Diablos, Frank Lente Club. Yep. Frank did what? Diablos, Loners. I think he was part of the upper management for the Choice for a minute there too, wasn't he? I'm not sure. Oh, Kurt, I'm gonna be heading up to Clinton on Sunday, it seems, because that's what day we got to do it. So, Bepalooza, Bebo Paula, blah blah blah. She tried to be Bepalooza, baby J. Yeah, that's where I know that name from exactly, bro. Whatever club they were, they didn't like the Highwayman. Now the Highwayman, what the fuck? Where are they at? Are they down in Windsor, Sarnia, maybe? There's got something to do with, I don't know. There's a Sarnia club that I think the Outlaws got friction with. I think that it's a different club, but I think they're associated with 81, I think. But, you know, maybe I get one or two of the lifers, Bob, to talk about the history of the club. Apollo's MC, if I'm not mistaken, 50s. I believe I thought they were the oldest ever in Canada. Oh, that's interesting. No, but I have been talking to a fella from the oldest club in Canada. The Blackhawks in Hamilton. Blackhawks? Yeah, Blackhawks, I think, in Hamilton. So I've been talking to one of their fellas over the Christmas time, and he's got to take it to the table. So hopefully we'll get them up for an interview. I like getting the history out there. It's interesting to me too, right? Because the only history I was ever concerned with was the club I was in. So my old lawyer, Don Crawford, XOPP band, ex-cop band, expensive lawyer, CPAC. I've heard Don Crawford name before, I believe, Kurt. Yeah, I tried doing the Patreon. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm trying to get every interview that I've ever done over on the Patreon so everybody can watch them over there uninterrupted, because in my back catalog of interviews, I've interviewed some really, really cool people and interesting people, right? So people are just getting on the channel now. They've missed all those interviews, and there's been some really, really good ones. My old man, me and Apollo and Prince Albert. He was just an older fella. Nice. That's how them fellas from the Blackhawks will be, you know what I mean? Late 50s, 60s, you know what I mean? And doing their thing. The government is the only one that gets rich off resources. You got that right. But, no, I didn't think so either, Rebecca, because I'm racking my brain thinking, who came out of Guelph? But I don't think so. Wait, oh, fucking right he was, Real Truth. Holy moly, that guy was insane about it. He painted a big swazi on the roof of his barn so when the cops were flying over his place, they would see it. He cut it into the fucking grass. Everything, man. All through his house was all them banners and stuff. He was quite a character. Wasn't the type of cat I was hanging out with, that's for sure. I said golf is all yeah, that's what you're saying, car clubs, yeah. I remember you saying that. And we had some really good friends made it for the club. Over 25 years lost touch. Yeah, you do, don't you? From Detroit. Detroit had a really good club scene. It still does, from what I know. Can I bring a book? Yeah, are you on the way to Clinton? Yeah, absolutely. I'll stop on somewhere on Highway 4. Or right in Clinton if you want. High Payments are in Detroit. Is that a club? Or is that just a... Poor old Detroit, though, man. You drive through some of those areas, and it's like, wow, what happened, man? The Highwaymen were a Chicago club. Yeah, I got a feeling that's... Yeah, you might be right on that, No, bro. Because I think that club in Sarnia I'm thinking of, its name's got something to do with Maverick or something. For some reason, it makes me think of a horse for some reason. There are Highwaymen in BC. I thought Highwaymen were Detroit also. Yeah, they are in Detroit also. Maybe they're a bigger club than we realized. Blackhawks and Hamilton's oldest bike club in Canada history. Yep. And hopefully, like I say, hopefully, I'm going to have one or two of their their fellas on, and we'll have a nice discussion. I like the one I did with Don, and he painted the picture of being a biker back then. I love those conversations. I really like it. Got to get out more. The only people I see riding around BC are 81. Well, there's going to be choice in, what was that town called? Abbotsford? Abbotsford's going to have a choice chapter. Yeah, I got to reach out to him again. And Grant has sent me a couple people to get some more historic people on as well. I got to get a hold of them. Grant from the chat here. Oh, wait. Wasn't there a bunch of guys in Windsor called the Garage? Oh, I think there was a place in Chatham, and they kind of used it as a kind of informal clubhouse, and it was called the Garage, Chris, and a whole bunch of bikers hung out there. But I'm not sure if it was an organized bunch of guys or just a bunch of dudes that hung out. I'm not 100%. I think it's growing. The Facebook group is blasting off. We're up to 13,500 people on the Facebook group. Now I got to get those people to go over to the Facebook page because, of course, Meta sent me a thing saying that they monetize me, but I got to have a page. But I put all my postings on the group because there's 13,000 people there. So if there's a bike night every Wednesday coming up, I want to tell 13,000 people about it. I don't just want to tell 400 people about it. You know what I mean? So I got to figure out how to dissect which posts I'm putting in which spot. I think is what I'm going to do. Oh, diddly, do your thing. Fucking right, Kurt. Got to do your thing. No golf had more old retired. Yeah, they had the Mafia, 100%. Back then, I don't know if they still do. They seem to be in, what the fuck's that city north of Toronto? Thornhill or something like that? I can't remember. There's one little city north of Maple. So first they went to Maple, and then they built all the subdivisions in Canada Wonderland there and called it Woodbridge. And then they went a little further up Highway 400 and a little bit to the east. And there's a whole bunch of them up in that area. Jay Patrick. Hey, good to see you tonight, Jay. Thanks for popping in this evening. South by Slide by, I didn't recognize. Summer kind of surprised me, baby. Like you say, okay. The real truth, I'm from Hamilton. I never heard of them. That's strange. Oh, about the Blackhawks. And again, Doug, it's probably because they don't do the 1% thing. They're a traditional MC, but they don't do the 1% thing at all, and they never have, and they got no interest in it. But it's still a traditional MC, and it's still the oldest one in Canada. Good guys. Here, I'll give you that's our age range in there, right? So it's older fellas doing their thing, a couple younger faces in there, right? Just keep a couple alive. You got to have new people. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting interview. Blackhawks MC. What's that? That isn't their patch. What is this shit? That's not their patch. That's not their patch either. Very strange. This is it, though. So they were from 1938, Doug. And their support shirts say, support your local dirty birds. Highwaymen are several states. So, yeah, I thought so, because I think the Outlaws and the Highwaymen used to have beef back in the day, didn't they? I thought so. Right in town at the Tims. Okay, Kurt. Okay. Yep, I'll find you. Or on the way up, I'll find you. I'll shoot you a text. Shoot me a message on Messenger sometime before then so that we've already got a communication line set up. You know what I mean? What's that, Alex? A YouTube screw up. Renegades are in Detroit. And in the D. Oh, we got We got Laird in the house. Good to see you tonight, bro. I can't give you a time yet, bro. I'll give you time when I'm leaving London. That's the best I can do for giving people times. I suck at times. Up north somewhere and in the 70s we're in Cranbrook, not related. Okay. Yes, Alex. No highwaymen in BC. Okay. So half dozen rebels with blue and white on their cuts. Yes. I believe they are in Canada, bro. I'm pretty sure I did a story about them over a year ago. I thought that they landed somewhere around Kingston. But yes, I think it is the Aussie Rebels that you saw. No. I'm almost 100% of that. So that might be strange. They got out west already. They are present about 40 bike clubs in BC. That's a good number. Oh, they're riding slow. Well, it's easier to see their patch if they're going slow. Yeah, bro, Larry from Chatham. That's right. We were talking the other day on the messenger, brother. Absolutely. Choice are in Florida now. See, you heard that too, eh? I said that earlier in the show, Chris. But I don't think I got it from a Satan's Choice post. I think I got it from a chat somewhere. Fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, Bruce in the house. How are you tonight, Bruce? Good to see you, brother. People at Share Bob's channel. Yeah, that's it, Doug. You got it, man. Fucking right. Yeah, Rum, I'm just about to sign out, brother. I apologize. We talked about a few things. Old history about the Queensman MC. If you're familiar with them guys, Southwestern Ontario, Windsor, London, Chatham, kinda. And we talked about the Choice open up in Finland. And somebody said they saw him in UK. And somebody else, and me, in fact, saw some mention of them are in Florida, Daytona, in fact. So that'd be interesting. The BFM, I don't know if I want to do a story about the BFM. It seems like a long, drawn-out story, man. And I don't think that what I can get out of the news portrays the whole story correctly. I don't, for some reason, I get that that vibe. Blood Family Mafia, BFM, yeah. As far as I know, it's BFM. Who knows? We can maybe do a show on it. Who knows, right? There's YouTube. There's still saddle tramps. The Lincoln County is yes. And I don't know about saddle tramps. But Lincoln County still exists. I've announced events for them. And, of course, Welland County exists as an MC because we've had them on for interviews with the flat track there. Highwaymen patched over in the USA. Wow, eh? If they patched over red and white, that would be the easiest way for red and white to take over kind of Michigan sort of thing, right? That was one thing I couldn't believe how much they kept going and going until they got something close enough they could call it a Chicago chapter, right? Talk about sticking your thumb in the other guy's eyes, man. You know? Some of their kids left golf, no idea where. They just went off, never asked. Huh. Okay, thanks, Kurt. I appreciate that, bro. I'm good, Laird. Good to see you tonight, man. Golden Hawk Riders were from Port Hope, 60s. I don't know if they're still there either. I think that was one of the names that Don mentioned, maybe that came along and became Choice. Maybe. Because I have heard that name, Golden Hawk Riders. Well, that's what I thought too, Highwayman. It's hard to keep up with every club. That's why everyone only kind of concentrates on the big five. Because when you get into the States, if it's not 1%ers, there's probably tons and tons of MCs, traditional MCs that do the MC thing, just don't have no need or no want to get in the 1%er politics and bullshit, right? Guelph, I drank a few times in the 70s, early 80s. My folks have friends from Osbridge. I think that's, they spent a lot of time there. corner 25 and 24. No, I don't know none of them places, Doug. I noticed a lot of, yeah, that's how I am, bro. If I tell you I'm gonna be there at 1, I'll see you at 3. And I don't know why. I just read they patched over the Angels. Huh, it's interesting, eh? So like I say, that's how it happens. Want to get the bike show on Saturday? That's what I'm going to, Bruce. I can go Saturday. I try to get there as early as I can. Look around, get some clips, maybe do a couple lives right from the show. With some people at their booths, because there'll be other clubs and stuff there. It'll be interesting. I'll like it. I went last year. They had the motocross guys doing flips right inside the building. They turn off high 1 in the radium tournament. So back all the way to Edmonton. It's an outlaw route. Yeah, I heard that the Outlaws are in Alberta. That's why 07 was in the club. We got fucking Canada on our back. Let's fucking go. Let's go. No apologies, bro. Great thing about YouTube is you can go back. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Well, they are similar. And if you're dyslexic, they're the same, right? We don't care about my. Yeah. No, they're not bikers. Exactly. They're not bikers. You know? Did you jump from Detroit? What's that, Chris? I lost you. Yeah, and it could be too fresh on that subject. I don't, oh, I know what you're talking about. Let Original Gangsters talk about it. Exactly. Well, see, the way that story gets told all the time, I find is disrespectful to one of the clubs. And I'm not here to disrespect one club or another, right? I want to stay neutral. I don't want to have a strong opinion about a club one way or the other, because that's not the way to be for a channel like this. I want to be a fair presentation. If one club's in the news and I talk about their story, if a different club's in the news, I want to talk about their story the exact same. You know what I mean? So it doesn't look like, yeah, and that was the same as why I started talking a little bit less about the choice and all that, because people were starting to say that's all I talked about, and it wasn't. It's because they were the ones making news. So if you're in the news, I call myself Biker News. So you know what I mean. But I don't want it concentrated on one club. Yeah, that would be a wild alliance. Like I say, that's how they do it. And now all of a sudden they probably got more members than the Outlaws got in Michigan, and that's been. It seems like the Outlaws don't seem to care anymore. Maybe they've got themselves where they want to be, and they're not into doing life bits for territory. Because look at all the clubs that are in Florida now, right? You know what I mean? And Florida was like their stronghold. And like you say, I got a feeling that they just don't want to keep going at it and getting all the recos and all the bullshit involved. Wake up a certain amount of time. I usually just want to go for about an hour, Doug. That's all. I look at my little timer, and when we're around an hour, or when I'm out of stuff to talk about too, right? We're chatting. Creeksville Yacht Club in Edmonton. I am too, because I heard that they opened up some Alberta chapters. And I heard that they're still out there and they're still doing their thing. So good. I'd like to see them go east too. Oh, actually, they have gone east too. I think they might have sent the Black Pistons east. But I think there's a couple outlaw chapters out east too. So it's good to see that they're doing their thing, right? Hey, Paul, how are you, bro? Yeah, I'll be there Saturday, brother. Try to get there as early as I can. So that probably means around noonish, right? Which one's that, Chris? The choice was Bernie's old club, right? Before Parches. I don't know. I don't know what that one means. Yeah, it would be. But you know what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the older clubs when I meet them. I asked the guys from the Welland County MC to send some stuff up to that motorcycle museum in Thunder Bay, the fella I had on for an interview. You know what I mean? Because he needs it more than I do. Hells Angels and Highwayman MC join forces. Join the rise. Michigan's toughest bikers come together for sure. You need. Wow. How long is that from? How long ago is that from? Do you know? That's crazy. Thank you, Bruce. Thanks for popping in tonight, brother. And yeah, it'd be nice to see you at the show. I'm going to try to, I think my merch guy said he's going to send me something. He said he'll be here on time for the end of the week with the Biker News Canada on the front. So hopefully you can't miss me. Besides, I kind of look like I look, right? So hope to see a bunch of you guys down at the show. Be interesting. That is a strange mix, eh, Gary? That Scott Burnout guy talks a lot of bullshit too. He's been, yeah, exactly, right? And he drops names. He's fucking wild, that guy. He drops so many names. It's like, whew. But, you know, yeah, Black Pistols is really growing into a big club. It's really, really big in like Europe and that, and through the States. And I always had that thought in the back of my mind. What happens if the club we put together outgrows our club, right? Because that's kind of and I think that's kind of what's happening. Is it's growing bigger than the club that actually formed them. Well, you didn't hear about them as a kid because they didn't when they come together. You know, around the same time, you know, end of the 90s, early 2000s, the Pistons got put together and come in. Oh, yeah, you're the Iron Fist, aren't you, Paul? Absolutely, I'll be over there to see you, brother. Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to see you. So bumper sticker in the Sioux says, support the Zoo West. Yeah, the black and white's always been strong up there. Well, since they popped. I thought Bernie was one club. Oh, he was, Chris. That could have been that one. That's what you're talking about. The one from Niagara. Okay, it all came back together, and that could be it. Because I know I heard it somewhere on a conversation I had with somebody, that older club's name. Absolutely. Now it's all making sense. They're a Nova Scotia nomadic. Okay, that makes sense. There's 61% clubs in Alberta. Huh. You wouldn't think that many, would you? Outlaws seem to be popping up all over again. Yeah, that's how it goes. Clubs go in cycles, right? Like the guy that brought me up, Willie, always told me if the whole chapter basically gets arrested or fucked over and whatever, it's about 7 years to get that chapter back up to where it was. I know he's got that weird fucking he's a weird looking cat. I just can't believe how he drops them names, and he talks like that one HA from Montreal, like he's his boyfriend or something. He's like, wow, all over that guy. Be nice if the one could stop feuding. Exactly, right? Exactly. It's always over a woman, Doug. It's always over a woman. It's crazy, man. Yeah, me too. I don't even remember how I found that OG guy. Yeah, probably just the genre I was watching, and YouTube threw it up for me. Right? How do you not get whacked yet? Exactly, man. The original was called the Crossbreeds. That's going back before my time, I think. If clubs got it made now, they stay out of the. Yeah, well. Hopefully they will. Scott B is a lawyer. Talks too slow for me to follow. Oh, is he an actual lawyer? Huh, I did not know that. Yeah, he does, and he fumbles for his words even more than I do, and I'm stoned out of my head. I don't know what his excuse is, but maybe he is too. Who knows? I know I'm not the only guy that smokes. Yeah, that's true. No, Grove. You know, the Outlaws got the name Outlaws. They were called the McCook County Outlaws in 1935. It's a place just out of Chicago. And they started like these guys with the sweaters, and it was kind of a racing team. And then it grew into a club, and then it grew into a 1% club. But yeah. Yeah, there's that. I think the choice will come back. Yeah, me too. I think it's a good look, man. You know what I mean? And I think Harley's the right guy to do it. Like I say, ever since the interview with Harley, that was the first time I met him. I've liked him. So, you know, Scott B family was Purple Gang. Oh, so he's got some sort of history, does he? Okay. Because like when he's not talking about the Montreal Hells Angels, he does talk about the American, you know, mafia, right? He does, and he does talk about more current mafia stuff than most other people do. Hopefully, well, that's what we are. Yeah, it's always greed, bro. It's always greed. Handy Pelly, thanks for popping in. Oh yeah, fuck, I miss Holmes. He was a good brother, man. He was a really good brother. Make sure everybody's subscribed who's hanging around. If you don't mind, hit the like button for me, everybody. And thanks for popping in, Mandy Pelly. If you're ever watching, you want to jump in and say hi, you're more than welcome, man. Everybody's pretty cool here in the group. And like I say, I do a lot of my show just talking to you guys in the chat. So if you ever want to talk to me, that's what the back half of my show always is, and I love it. Bernstein mentioned WAP, eh? And all of it was false. Yeah, exactly, right? That's what I mean. Why does he talk so much about Canadian fucking bikers? Yeah, I don't know. There's a girl who pops as an outlaw for life, had all them old photos. Did you know her? I don't know who it is, Doug. It depends on who the girl is. It's a good looking shows for termination on his part. The one's wearing it now. I get you. Ever hear the Highlanders out east? No, I haven't heard of them, bro. I'm starting to hear about a few more clubs out east. Like I say, those are the guys, because I'm not from there. I'd love to get them on for an interviews, right? So we can introduce ourselves and the rest of the country can hear about their club. Oh, thanks, Rick. It's good to meet you, brother. It's a pleasure. Like I say, anytime, Monday to Friday, 5 or 8 p.m., if you want to pop in and say hello, feel free, man. Yeah, I got to fly too, Chris. Thanks for coming in tonight, brother. And when you get back to work, be safe up there, man. Oh, me too, bro. I think I crossed that line today. Let's fucking fingers crossed. I've been working on it for 3 months. You believe that? All because I used to have a business website attached to that thing. Whew. I mean, does he still talk about Jimmy Hoffa? That's funny. Mr. 40 Scratch, I don't know if I've met you before, but thanks for popping in. I appreciate you. Pop in anytime. Like I was just saying to Handy Pelly, anytime you see his man, you want to say hi, you're more than welcome. Absolutely. Hey, Tommy Stoner, how are you? Good to meet you. You're at my place. Uh-oh. At our clubhouse or my house? She was posting on YouTube. I'll find her. Yeah, that'd be cool, Doug. I wonder who that is. Thank you, Mountain Woman. I appreciate you. I like doing the chat with you guys, man. It makes for a cool show. So glad you changed it to music. There's no smoke. Yeah, man, that was crazy, the first one. But I didn't know what to do, right? New one's cool. I do like it. Thank you. And it was sent in. It was sent in by one of you guys, man. Oh, you met me. That's cool, Tommy. Nice, man. Very cool. All right, guys. Well, that's what I was going to talk about today. And you guys made the talk more enjoyable like you always do. I appreciate you guys. Like I say, make sure you hit the subscription button and the like button on the way out. Seen Jesse. Okay. All right. Yeah. There's a few people in and out of my place. Someone's at the door, but they warned you. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for dropping in again. All right, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. couldn't do this show without you guys, and I couldn't be more appreciative of each and every one of you. So till tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll talk about the bike show, and I'll find out all the info I can on the bike show, and we'll talk about it. And then Saturday, I'll do some quick lives from the bike show. All right. Till then, everybody, be safe, stay warm. Much love, Kay Wayne. Get to the end of your shift and all that. And good night, everybody. Good night.
Biker News Canada, where the truth hits harder than the highway wind. From Ontario to the coast, Bob Javi rolls in. Let the real news begin. He's got the camera ready, catching sparks from every ride. Club stories, charity runs, every heartbeat of the biker tribe. So smash that like, share, follow, let the whole country feel.